In a shocking and deeply troubling incident at a local Walmart, Angela Collins, the newly elected mayor of Greenfield, was wrongfully accused of shoplifting by a police officer. What started as a simple shopping trip quickly spiraled into a public confrontation that would change her life and the city's future forever. This wasn't just a case of mistaken identity, it was a painful reminder of the racial prejudice and abuse of authority that too many people face on a daily basis. Officer Jacob Mills, acting on assumptions based on Angela's race and the time of night, targeted her, accusing her of a crime she didn't commit. When Angela calmly tried to assert her innocence, she was subjected to unnecessary force, all while a crowd watched in disbelief. This event shines a light on the larger systemic issues of discrimination and the abuse of power within law enforcement. In this video, we'll walk you through this traumatic encounter, its profound impact on the community, and how Angela Collins used this painful experience to fuel change, fighting for justice, equality, and police reform. It was just another quiet evening at Walmart, and Mayor Angela Collins was casually shopping, her list half finished as she picked up a bottle of detergent. She had no idea that what should have been a simple errand was about to take a horrifying turn. As she wandered the aisles, an employee began whispering to a police officer, Officer Jacob Mills, who was adjusting his belt. Angela felt a shift in the air but remained focused on her shopping, unaware of the brewing tension around her. That is, until Officer Mills approached her directly, his tone firm and his eyes scanning her as if she were a suspect. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said. "I've been informed that you are shoplifting. I need you to come with me." Angela blinked, stunned by the accusation. She calmly replied, "I beg your pardon?" But the officer didn't back down. He insisted that security footage showed her engaging in suspicious activity and demanded she hand over her bag. Angela, confused and upset, firmly told him that she had not stolen anything and that everything in her cart was unpaid, as she was still shopping. She tried to explain, even identifying herself as the mayor of Greenfield in an effort to de-escalate the situation. But Officer Mills wasn't listening. "Mayor, huh?" he smirked, dismissing her claim as if it were a joke. He demanded to see her ID, then grabbed her wrist, ignoring her protests. As the crowd began to gather, murmurs turned to voices of concern and confusion. People pulled out their phones to record, some recognizing Angela, others unsure of what was happening. Amidst the growing tension, Robert Dempsey, Angela's chief of staff, rushed forward shouting, "That is Angela Collins, the mayor, let her go." But Mills wasn't swayed. With the crowd escalating, he pulled out a canister of pepper spray, warning Angela not to resist. "If you resist," he threatened, "I'll use this." Angela, still calm but now visibly distressed, demanded he double-check his facts. But instead of listening, Officer Mills sprayed her directly in the face. The burning sting made Angela stumble backward, and the crowd erupted in anger. Phones were now pointed at Mills as his actions were broadcast for all to see. A man in a suit, identified as Robert Dempsey, stepped forward, horrified. "Stop this right now," he shouted. "That's the mayor." The realization hit Mills in an instant. His entire demeanor shifted from arrogance to panic as he looked down at Angela, who was crouched on the floor, her hands clutching her burning face. His face went pale as he stammered, "No, that can't be. She's the mayor?" The weight of his mistake sank in, but it was too late. The damage was done. As the realization of Officer Mills's mistake hit him, the crowd erupted into a wave of anger and disbelief. People were shouting, demanding justice, and calling for the officer's immediate removal. "Racist cop!" one voice screamed. "Fire him!" another shouted. The murmurs quickly grew into a unified chorus of outrage. Phones continued to record, capturing every moment of the unfolding chaos. In the midst of the uproar, Angela sat on the floor, her face still burning from the pepper spray, her breath steady but heavy. Despite the sharp pain and the stinging in her eyes, she maintained her composure. The crowd's fury only intensified as they witnessed their mayor, an elected official who was supposed to represent them, being treated like a criminal, simply because of the color of her skin. Angela was helped to her feet by a concerned shopper who handed her tissues to wipe her eyes, but the damage had already been done. Moments later, medical personnel arrived to tend to her injuries. The paramedics flushed her eyes with water, offering her the relief she desperately needed, but Angela's resolve never wavered. Even as her vision cleared, the full weight of what had just happened settled over her. But before she could even process the next steps, Robert Dempsey, Angela's chief of staff, stepped forward with fiery determination. He confronted the officers, demanding accountability for what had just transpired. "You assaulted the mayor of this city," he said sharply, his voice unwavering. "You need to be held accountable for this." His voice rang through the store, cutting through the noise of the crowd, and his commitment to justice was clear. Within moments, the situation was met with a response from the police. Captain Lydia Parker, a senior officer, arrived on the scene. Her face was grim as she assessed the situation. "Mills, step outside. Now," she ordered with authority, cutting off any defense he might have tried to offer. Her voice left no room for debate. The crowd watched as Mills, now visibly shaken, hesitated for a moment before he walked out of the store under the glare of the onlookers. Captain Parker addressed the crowd, assuring them that the situation would be taken seriously. "This incident will be handled with the seriousness it deserves," she said, her tone steady and reassuring. "Please give the mayor time to recover." While many in the crowd reluctantly began to disperse, many remained outside, eager for further updates, their anger still palpable. The incident had sparked something far bigger than just a confrontation in a store. It had ignited a movement for accountability and justice. Once the chaos at Walmart had subsided, Angela Collins took a moment to regain her composure before issuing a public statement. Despite the pain still radiating from her face, she spoke with remarkable calm and clarity. "What happened to me last night is not just an isolated incident. It is part of a much larger problem," she began, her voice strong and unwavering. "I will be pressing charges against Officer Mills, not just for what he did to me, but for the countless others who have faced abuse at the hands of law enforcement. This is bigger than me. It's about the systemic changes we need to make to ensure that no one else is targeted unfairly, no matter their race or position." Her words resonated deeply with the community, striking a chord that rippled far beyond Greenfield. As the news of the incident spread, so did the outrage. The video of Officer Mills's assault quickly went viral, circulating across social media and news platforms. Activists, journalists, and community leaders from all over the country rallied behind Angela, offering support and calling for justice. News anchors dissected the footage, with many condemning Mills' actions as a blatant example of racial profiling and abuse of power. The incident sparked heated debates on reforming police procedures, and Angela's response only fueled the momentum for change. People voiced their solidarity, and protests erupted across the city, demanding accountability for the officer and reform within the police department. In the days following the incident, a full investigation was launched into Officer Mills's conduct. As public pressure mounted, Mills was placed on suspension without pay pending the outcome of the investigation. The evidence was undeniable. Witness testimonies, video footage, and the officer's own actions all pointed to an unjustifiable use of force. The district attorney quickly announced criminal charges for assault and abuse of authority, signaling that Mills would not be let off the hook. Within a week, Officer Mills was officially dismissed from the force. The swift and decisive action sent a strong message. No one is above the law, not even those who are sworn to uphold it. The consequences for Mills were harsh, but for Angela, The fight for justice had only just begun. In the wake of Officer Mills's dismissal, Angela Collins used the momentum from the incident to push for meaningful change. She made it clear that the pain she endured was not in vain. It would be the catalyst for a larger movement within Greenfield. Angela spearheaded initiatives to reform the local police department, beginning with comprehensive bias training for all officers. "We cannot continue to allow prejudice and assumptions to dictate how people are treated," she declared in a public address. Alongside these reforms, she introduced community forums designed to foster better relationships between law enforcement and the citizens they served. Angela knew that trust needed to be rebuilt, and it would take time. But she was committed to creating a city where justice wasn't just a word, but a practice. A city where every person, regardless of their race or background, could feel safe and respected. As Angela spoke to the community, she reflected on how the incident had shaped her personally. She shared her experience of being shaken but not broken, using it as a lesson in resilience. "Strength is not just in what we do, but in how we rise after we've been knocked down," she said, addressing a crowd at City Hall. "Justice is not just about seeking retribution. It's about ensuring that we never let injustice define who we are as a city." Her words resonated deeply with those in attendance, particularly with young people who were eager for change. Angela's leadership not only inspired a renewed commitment to justice, but also gave hope to those who had long felt marginalized. In a final touching moment, Angela walked outside the very Walmart where the incident had unfolded. As she approached her car, a young girl waved shyly at her from across the parking lot, her mother encouraging her with a gentle whisper. Angela smiled warmly and walked over, kneeling to meet the girl's gaze. "I'm proud of you, Mayor Collins," the mother said, her voice filled with emotion. "You've shown my daughter what strength looks like." Angela smiled and responded, "Remember this, no matter what anyone tells you, you are powerful and you deserve respect. Never let anyone make you feel less than you are." As the girl smiled back, Angela felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fight for justice was far from over, but in moments like this, she knew it was worth every step. This interaction, small but powerful, was a reminder that the future of Greenfield and the future of justice was in good hands. The story of Mayor Angela Collins is a stark reminder of the deep-seated racial prejudice and abuse of authority that still exists in our society, even in the places we least expect it. Her ordeal at Walmart became more than just a personal struggle. It sparked a movement for justice, accountability, and reform. Angela's decision to stand up, even in the face of humiliation and pain, led to systemic changes in her community, showing the true power of resilience and leadership. It's a call for all of us to reflect on our own roles in fighting injustice and standing up for what is right. As we move forward, let's remember that change starts with individuals like Angela, who refuse to accept the status quo and who work tirelessly to make a difference. If this story resonated with you, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content that tackles important issues and sparks real conversations. Thank you for watching, and let's continue to push for a world built on fairness, respect, and equality.